Hello there. I hope you're all having, or had, depending on where in the world you are, a great day today. Last week, I revealed to you that our group was finally done with D&D 5th edition. And I even gave you 5 reasons why, although I'm pretty sure I and many others could have come up with a few more than that. I also told you that I would reveal our choice of replacement game in an upcoming video. And that is this video here. So now it's my pleasure to reveal our choice for the replacement of D&D 5th edition. I looked at a few different games, but in the end, I narrowed it down to 2 of them. And they are Dungeon Crawl Classics by Goodman Games and Castles and Crusades by Troll-Lord Games. I had the books, and PDFs that the players could look at for a few days, kind of explain my thoughts on what each of them were. I thought Dungeon Crawl Classics, DCC as it's commonly known, was kind of a balls-to-the-wall choice. It was the firebrand political candidate that gets, people passionate about a cause. I do love the system of DCC, and I love just flipping through that rulebook, if only for the cool black and white old-school artwork. Castles and Crusades was kind of the more traditional, polished candidate, maybe the bit more established politician who doesn't quite make as many mistakes. And I had also heard, and this kind of struck me while reading through it, that Castles and Crusades was sort of a cross between 2nd and 3rd edition of D&D. Considering I've spent about 17 years between those two systems, including some of our most halcyon days, that was not exactly a bad thing. So in the end, we proudly chose Castles and Crusades as our replacement. My players liked some of the choices in the game, while fully understanding that this isn't 5e anymore. They understood that the game would be a bit more complex than, say, maybe Beckme, but, they were fine with it. 3 characters of ours had to be converted over to the new game, and 3 are starting anew. We had our first session last night where everyone essentially kind of rolled their stats again. I'm really proud of my group, too, because in a 4 dice 6 drop the worst roll world, they were just fine with 3 dice 6 straight up. They rolled their hit points straight up. You could tell there was some withdrawal, as my wife rolled up a couple of 7s and looked at me worriedly. But I and the rest of the group assured her that she had one pretty good stat, and the rest were kind of average, so she was good. Even better, she was using those rolls to inform her choice of character, which ended up a cleric, by the way. But that hadn't happened for so long, letting the dice decide. It was very refreshing to see. I also appreciate, too, how it's fairly easy to bolt on other rules and mechanisms, something that Troll-Lord encourages. Our old friend, the T-shirted historian, in a recent live stream I did with him, made me aware of a rule for extra attacks in his favorite game, Scarlet Heroes, called Fray Dice, I believe. I'm finding a way to sort of include those in our Castles and Crusades game, along with limited use of Dungeon Crawl Classics WotC dice. If you don't know what WotC dice are, they are kind of like the oddball dice, like the die 16, die 24, die 30, stuff you don't get in standard sets, but are readily available on places like Amazon. There's also plenty of optional rules in the fantastic Castle Keeper's Guide, too. This includes a mana point system that incorporates a version of DCC's Spellburn rule, which allows magic users to literally sacrifice part of their own body in the form of constitution points to bring off spells in a desperate situation. I was even looking at a copy of my old school Essentials game, and I was kind of surprised how some of the monsters from that game very easily transferred over to Castles and Crusades. There is one optional rule in Castles and Crusades that I think should actually just be the starting rule. The game has a familiar mechanism of the players rolling a die 20 adding a modifier and hitting a target number to succeed. Their version of it is called the Siege Engine, I think. As written, that target number is either 12 for a statistic the player has designated as a primary one, or 18 if it's not, meaning it's more difficult. This, in my opinion, puts some unnecessary two-step math on the players, but it's easily remedied by an optional rule in the Castle Keeper's Guide by just giving the players a +6 bonus on primary statistics, and then making every target number start at 18 and then get adjusted from there. Now they can just use one calculated number against my target and not have to worry whether it's for a primary ability or a secondary, and doing the math in their own mind whether they start at 12 or 18. It will just kind of make the game flow a lot quicker, I can already see, while not affecting the rule balance one bit. It's still the same math. So as I said, we are excited. This game was barely on my radar a few months ago. Then they actually had an employee at Trollord who, let's just say, had a very bad day on Twitter, stupidly insulting folks for political and social reasons. I even made a video on it at the time. But it was actually the way Trollord handled this situation that earned them a lot of respect in my eyes. Within 24 hours, they came out with this statement, warning their employees that they are strictly a games-only company, no politics. Now, yes, they had to weather the 48-hour storm of lunatics telling them that they were literally committing murder by doing that, but they held fast, and they have reaped the benefits, as they are selling this game, as far as I can tell, like gangbusters now. That's a prime example of what standing your ground against these folks will get you. Don't give in, don't apologize, and stay strong, and the loonies will move on, and you will have earned a ton of respect. Trollord also gives a generous 50% discount to any veterans out there. That is really, really cool. So yes, coming from a company that, quite frankly, no longer wants me or my game group as customers in Wizards of the Coast, we are extremely proud to have chosen Castles and Crusades as its replacement. We welcome this new guest into our home every Friday now, while we give 5e and Wizards of the Coast the Grima Wormtongue treatment. So that's all for now. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if content such as this interests you. You guys take care, and we will talk soon. Goodbye.
What qualifies you to be a U.S. Senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody.